Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be making a Barbie dress, and I'm sure you know what I'm making from the thumbnail and title. We're going to be doing Genevieve's 12 Dancing Princess ballet dress. Much like everybody else, I hope, love the Barbie movies and I love their dresses so much, and I actually have made a few of them in the past. This movie is actually one that I didn't really grow up watching, which is really weird because I think it was released around the same time as the other iconic ones. I really always watched Barbie, Rapunzel, Princess and the Pauper, Swan Lake, the Nutcracker. Those ones, I did grow up on those, and I never really watched the 12 Dancing Princesses until recently. So we're gonna be making her dress, and I'm really excited because I'm gonna be doing her shorter ballet version instead of the big ball gown one. And this is kind of different for me because usually I do full-length dresses. So I'm really excited. I already have all of our materials, including her ballet shoes, which I will be making, and I'm really excited for this. Now, one of the reasons I actually want to do this dress is because of the materials. There's something I've been holding on to for a very long time that I thought would be perfect for this dress, and I've been waiting for the perfect time to make it. So let me show you what I have. I just got finished filming a TikTok with all of these materials, so I conveniently have all of them in this pile right here. The only thing I don't have is just a few of like the details. She has some gold detailing, some flowers. I have the main things, but this right here is what I've had forever. Joanne's sent me like this little gift box a few months back, and I saw this, and this dress immediately came to mind because of the gold thing she has on the front of the bodice. So I'm really excited to finally use it. We have some ballet shoes, which I'll be transforming. No, I'm not a ballerina, but you have to have the iconic shoes. And then because her skirt is ombre, we obviously have some dye. We're gonna be dyeing this white chiffon. And then I have the white matte satin for her bodice. I have the pink matte satin for the top of the bodice. And then I have this because it's gonna be the underskirt under the ombre. So let's start. Ideally today, I'll get both the skirts done, and that means cutting them, sewing them, and then ombre dyeing the top one, which I'm very nervous for. I've never ombre dyed. Let's hope it goes okay. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not a professional dyer, as you guys have seen in the video where I dyed Aurora's fabric blue. I have this leftover from the wedding dress that I just made, and I just didn't want to buy more fabric, and since it's going to be underneath, I'm sure it's fine. I might just dye this under fabric very light pink, just so that you don't really see the cream. Either way, it's fine. We're not too particular here. So we're gonna start cutting the fabric. I think I'm gonna do half circle skirts for each thing. Yeah. Before I start cutting the skirt, we gotta measure how long it's gonna be, and I think it's gonna be knee length-ish. I think that's what hers is at. So like maybe 25 inches. That seems about right. We'll do 25 inches. I always feel super boring recording half circle skirts over and over, so this is me just doing yet another circle skirt in another video of mine. Ah yes, chiffon, the devil's fabric. Don't take my measuring tape, honey buns. We have our skirts cut, and there was a bit of a plan change while I was cutting them. This is the overlayer that I will be dyeing, and I ended up doing one circle skirt and one half circle skirt for a lot of volume. And then for the underskirt, I didn't want to do more than a half circle skirt, but I didn't have enough of this fabric, so the waist radius wasn't big enough. So I did have to do a quarter skirt. So this is 3/4 of a circle right here. And then the overlayer is 1.5 circles. And we're gonna sew them now, and this is going very smoothly. Sewing is gonna be not fun because it's chiffon, so we're gonna start with the underlayer first. I think we can all agree that nobody likes to hem a skirt. To make things easier on myself, I'm gonna hem it with horsehair this time. I've only used this one other time before when I made my Valentine's Day dress. You should go watch that video. I'm gonna use this horsehair. It's gonna give it volume, which I want since I don't want to put a lot of effort into a petticoat. And it also is just really easy to use when you want a quick way to hem a skirt. So this matte satin is going to be hemmed with horsehair, and then the skirt just needs a waistband and it will be done. And then we'll have to make the chiffon skirt. Excuse me, Mabel. What are you doing? You know you're not allowed to be on the table. It's going good, except the dreaded bobbin is running out. We're gonna have to fill it up. I don't think it's gonna make it the rest of this hem. You really need to get down now, okay? Go. So we have the underskirt done, and now it's time to move on to this skirt. And I apologize if I'm going through this too fast, but I just feel like I'm gonna be so boring because I make the same skirt basically for everything I do. It's either circle skirt, half circle skirt, rectangle, gathered circle skirt, and I don't want to seem too boring. So let me know. I don't know. I just try to rush through the skirt process because I feel like you guys have seen it a million times, and nobody wants to watch me make a circle skirt. So we have this. Now we got to do this one. This one, we are not going to hem it because since it's chiffon, it's going to stretch in some of the places where it's the bias. So I'm going to actually hang it up and stretch it out and then recut it. And then we'll hem it and then we'll dye it. Both skirts are done now. Still need to dye it. This hem has given me such a nuisance. I already gave it a haircut, a big haircut as you can see, and I thought it was done warping, and then I hemmed it and it warped some more, and it's probably gonna even warp more after I dye it, and all the wetness is like hanging on it. So I'm going to just dye it, and if I have to rehem it, I will, because that's really bothering me. But I did a zigzag stitch, if you can see. Before I dive in ombre, I am gonna do a little swatch test because I don't want it to be like too pink, you know? This is pink, but if you look, this is really purple and this is more reddish pink. So I have the pink and I have the red and I have the fabric pieces that I'm going to dye, and I'm going to just kind of feel out the shade before I really dive into the actual thing. So I have my hot water and I'm just gonna go for it, and hopefully the color is how I want it to be. Okay, that looks purple. That's not even the right color. That's literally purple. You're telling me, I don't know if the camera's picking that up, that they're calling that super pink? Super pink. And it's coming up purple. Well, let me just see what our super pink looks like. The tiniest little drop. No. Good thing I have red, so I don't have to go out anywhere. That's nice. That's a plus. That's very much reading purple. I'm gonna add some red because this is not the vibe.
It's not the vibe. Stop!
I'm gonna go in with a little bit of red, and if this doesn't turn out how I want, I think I might have to go to the store to get another thing of red because I might need a 2-to-1 ratio. I know you're supposed to be scientific when you do this, but I just go for it. Okay, this is looking more like how it needs to look. So let me dip another little piece in. Oh, that's immediately better. Okay, hopefully 2 things is enough. If I do an exact ratio of pink to red, that's coming up like that. And I can imagine if it soaks longer. Hallelujah. I hope it's able to get darker than this though. The good news is that I figured out the right color, but the bad news is that this fabric does not hold dye very well. It needs to be way darker than this, and I just dipped it for quite a while, and this is as dark as I was able to get it, which is not good. I need it way darker. What are you gonna do? This is literally the story of my life when I dye fabric. I never get enough dye. So this is me dyeing the fabric with 2 bottles of dye and 1 pot of water, and spoiler alert, it did not work, obviously. So then I was like, oh, let me add some vinegar, and that was a waste of vinegar because it did not set the dye anymore. This fabric does not take dye very well at all, so that's like soaking in 2 bottles of dye in really shallow water, and it barely took any. Even though this was in for like 20 minutes and this was in for 2 seconds, it's still like the same color. So I went and got 4 more. So we're gonna really concentrate that water. Hopefully this will darken up. The matte satin soaked in a bunch of dye while I went to Joann's for about 40 minutes, and as you can see in this clip, it totally rinsed white again, and it did not hold any dye, just like the chiffon. So I added 4 more bottles of dye, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it did not work. It still did not work, and I was so mad. Welcome back. It is day 2, and we are here with another episode of Failed Dye Job. So apparently the fabrics that I had don't like to take dye. Even after I put 6 whole bottles, it's barely turned from white to pink. Not even an ombre. These ends right here were in for literally a second. I dipped it in and took it out. This top up here, I kept in for about at least half an hour. Is there an ombre? No. So you know what this means. We get to go to Joann's again. Now, am I totally mad about this? No. The reason being because I actually am still gonna use both of these skirts and it's just gonna add to the floof and I might not even have to make a petticoat because this is pretty poofy. And yeah, so my Joann's never has anything in stock that I need. So I am not going with faith that there's gonna be the right color. Let's go to the store again and pray that they have something. I'm actually in love with the sparkly organza that I found at Joann's, and it really reminded me of Barbie with the swirls. So I cut a circle skirt out of it, and it has the best fluff, and it's the prettiest color, and I think it's gonna work very well. I'm really proud of the way that I problem solved and was able to get an ombre without actually having anything ombre. So as you saw, it did not die, clearly, but I am using those bottom pieces for fluff, so I did not have to end up making a petticoat. And then when I was at Joann's, I had like this aha moment in my head. It was after I found this pretty sparkly fabric, but I knew it still wouldn't be very strong of an ombre. So I bought 6 yards of fuchsia tulle. And you can probably already see what I did. I bought 2 cuts of 3 yards. So I folded the 2 cuts in half, stacked them on top of each other, and that gives you 4 layers. So there's 4 layers, and then I cut them layers just like you would cut layers for hair so that there's most gathers at the top, so it's concentrated pink. And then as you cut the layers down and it kind of spreads out, there's less and less pink, and it really did create this ombre effect. And then by putting this over it, it makes it all smoothed out, so you get a really subtle effect. And I'm really, really proud of this, and it totally lifted my spirits because like I've said before, I always get so defeated so easily in projects, but it always ends up turning out even better than I thought it would. It's just a lesson that you just need to stick with it, and I really like this. I might actually even cut deeper layers because I think I want a little bit more of an ombre, but we'll see. But yeah, you can totally tell, especially when you like spin it, that there's a lot of a great ombre effect. So I'm really, really proud of that, and that's how we solved that problem. And the skirts are finally done, and I can move on to the point shoes. Finally gonna get started on these shoes. Before I go any further, I want to put a disclaimer to all of the point shoe police that no, I'm not a dancer. No, I don't care that you're gonna say I'm gonna break my ankles when I already know that. I'm not gonna dance on them. I don't even think they're danceable because they're like $20 shoes I got off of Amazon. Like, I don't even think you could dance in these if you wanted to. So please don't come to me with your comments because I don't care. So yes, today we are going to be decorating these, and I'm really, really excited. Here is all of my supplies. I have the flowers, I have these to make bows, and this ribbon to tie it up, and then of course we're gonna be painting it. So the first thing I'm doing is drawing the line on them where the color switches because I don't want to go into this blindly, and so that way I know where to paint up to. And I'm just gonna be using cheap acrylic paints for these since I don't really need them to be that durable. I think that the acrylic will be, and actually acrylic doesn't come out of fabric anyway, so I think that it will be a fine option. I'm just going for it now, and I'm just gonna paint away. I don't really think there's gonna be much to it. The paint, it's nice that it's a thin consistency, so it really is going on quite nicely. And since this is all going to be covered up by embellishments, it doesn't have to be the cleanest job. I'm noticing that it's soaking into the fabric. I think it's the perfect color. There was so many options at the store, and the shades were so close yet so different, and I didn't know which one to choose, but I think this one is really good. I'm also going to, I think, make another one of the sisters because I've been having a lot of fun with this project. So if you want to let me know who I should do in the comments, that would be greatly appreciated because I would love to do another one and make another pair of shoes. I've got the first coat of this shoe done, so now I'm gonna move on to this shoe. Both of the base shoes are painted now, and this one has had a moment to dry. Excuse my hands, they're messy. My nails kind of match. Anyway, and now that it's drying, she's looking really crusty. Hopefully after a second coat, it won't look that crusty. It's kind of hard to pick up. Whoa, focus please. It's hard to pick up on the camera, but it's kind of blotchy, probably because it's not all the way dry. I have the both layers painted, so now we're going to do the raspberry darker colored pink on the tips of the toes. And I don't know if this one is going to need more than one coat since it is darker, so we'll just have to wait and see. The color is so perfect. Oh, I cannot wait. This is one of those things that you see as a kid that you want so bad, and I'm making it look real, and it's gonna be so awesome. The shoes are done. Like I said, these are not real point shoes, so don't come for me. They are so cute. Here they are. I think they turned out so pretty. So these are done, and now we can move on to what will probably be the most complicated part of this, the bodice. I love to use ARANEA Black's corset patterns when I need a really nice corset that goes over my waist. Her corset patterns are amazing, and they are free, and I will link them down below if you want to download one. She has so many different options, and I am so grateful for the patterns that she makes. So I'll be using her Sylvia overbust corset pattern today, and I have all of my pieces and lining cut out already with matte satin, and we are ready to do this, and I'm very excited. I will be changing it slightly at the neckline and at the bottom of it because of the way, obviously, that Genevieve's corset goes, where it's kind of like a swoopy thing, so we'll just be trimming it off after I sew it together. Step one is to sew the lining together, and then using this bias tape, we'll do the boning channels. I will meet you back when I finish sewing together the lining and outer fabric, and once I have the boning channels sewn in, and they will just be on every seam, and it's gonna be really easy. I have the lining sewn, and now I want to show you that I'm doing a gold piping on some of the, not all, just some of the seams for the outer layer, because she does have gold piping on hers, and originally I was gonna glue down a trim, and then I was like, why am I being so stupid? Just do some piping. So there we go. I got the piping from Hobby Lobby. We're there now. We have the lining, which I'm really proud of this. What is this called? Piping. I've never done piping in seam before. I've only ever done it on a hem or whatever, and I think it looks pretty good. There's some spots where it's wonky, but I really like it. And then I have the lining, which obviously you can tell I ran out of white and had to use pink, and then I have the boning channels. So now to finish this up, I'm actually going to put this on top of this, sew along this top line right sides together, flip it out so that I have a finished top neckline. And then for the bottom hem, I have some gold bias tape right there that I'll finish up to put the gold on, and then we can start with the appliques. It's really turning out good. You can see the corset start to form. There's no boning in this yet, and I am just going to be using zip ties just to be cost effective. But as you can see, there's the lining, there's the front, and the next step, I'll probably top stitch this neckline down so that it's nice and clean, and then we'll add the zip ties, and that's my favorite part because then it has the structure and it will suck you in, and it will be really good. Hi guys, excuse the pajamas. It's the next day and I finished the base corset, and I did decide, I guess I didn't decide, but I ended up not filming because, I don't know, it just felt really straightforward. I already explained it and I didn't even know what there would be to film. I thought it would be boring. So here it is finished. It was very easy. Now all that's left is to add grommets, which, looking at these, I don't think I have enough. So that means I'm gonna have to go to the store today. And then we can do the actual fun parts, which is the embellishment of it. So we'll have the gold thingy right here, and then I have a rose, some leaves, very pretty, and then of course like the 2 pink gemstones. I might do embellishments first, grommets last. I'll have to count them. Let's do the fun part now. I was about to stitch this on, and I realized it literally is a hot fix iron-on applique. So I saved like half an hour from sewing this on, and I'm just able to iron it onto the front. We're just going to probably put it just right at the top and iron it down. Today I'm finishing up the costume by doing the pink puff sleeves and the bodice. So I need to drape the pattern, and then I'm gonna stop by Hobby Lobby, and then I'm gonna sew it all together, and hopefully I can finish it today because this video needs to be out by Friday. So let's drape it, time lapse. Pattern is made except for the sleeve, and it's kind of like a crop top or kind of like Regency dress. It was a waste of fabric to do a whole bodice when you're just going to see the top part, so I'm just going to sew it onto the corset and you'll just see the pink part on top. Now I'll take this off and cut the fabric, and then the one thing I don't know about yet is how I'm going to do the petals, because I have no idea what I want to do for those yet. We're going to figure it out though.
For the hem of the sleeve, I added this really pretty lace onto the bottom, and I did the puffs, and it's looking really cute, and I'm going to add it to the bodice. Ever since I learned how to put a sleeve in flat, it has changed my life, and if you don't know how to put it in flat, I highly recommend you learn.
So I haven't really filmed today because I don't feel very well, but I wanted to show you guys how I'm going to make the petals. I already made them and it looks really good, so let me show you what I did. I found this iridescent stuff from my Elsa spirit dress that I just did, and I was like, oh my gosh, that would be perfect. And then I have some leftover white chiffon that I didn't dye for the skirt. So I sandwiched one layer of white chiffon in between two layers of this. So I kind of folded it like that and then cut the petals out. And then I go through and I zigzag around so that it doesn't fray, and it turns out like this. And I think it's gonna be really good. And then I'm going to add some rhinestones to it to make it pop, and I'm just gonna make them in different sizes, and then we'll pin them to the bodice and add the binding. After that, I think it's almost gonna be done. I just have to add this, which I have barely shown, onto the corset, and things will be looking good. I just finished filming the reveal. I'm editing, and I just want to say one more time that I know that you're not supposed to dance in point shoes, but I am going to pose because that's what the dress is about. And yes, I know that I probably tied them wrong, and that's because I was going for the way that the movie tied it, and I acknowledge that's wrong. I acknowledge that there's risks to doing what I was doing, and I hope that you enjoy the reveal. I can like already hear me and Weishu police comments in fifth position. I haven't done ballet since I was like 10. I'm gonna get grilled for my